Hello, Newsmark viewers. How are you? I hope you're healthy and well. As the Newsmark team, today we will convey to you a very important development in Russian-Ukrainian war. War is largely a matter of courage, tactics, and ammunition. We can think of it as a tripod, and if there is a problem with even one of the pillars, it becomes difficult to wage war. In recent days, the Russian armed forces are experiencing major problems in all three of these pillars, and courage was something that the Russian soldiers lacked, and it is very difficult for the Russian army to talk about tactics. So in recent days, there have been numerous reports that the Russian armed forces are facing increasing ammunition problems. And in the past days, Russian soldiers made statements and asked that at least pump-action shotguns be sent to the front line. While the situation was getting worse, another bad news came for the Russian army. And according to reports, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out an incredible operation and blew up an ammunition depot belonging to the Russian armed forces with the Russian soldiers in the vicinity. So what are the details about this subject? Let's take a look together. Before moving on to our report, I would like to make a small reminder. As Newsmark team, we endeavor to convey to you the developments regarding the Russia-Ukraine war. So don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so as not to miss our daily reports and explanations. I also read all of your comments on our videos, so please continue to share your ideas about our content in the comments with us and tell us in the comments what content you would like to see on the Newsmark channel. Let's start if you are ready. Newsmark reports. The war between Russia and Ukraine continues to be the main agenda of Eastern Europe and the whole world, and Russian leader Vladimir Putin, who is tired of the front lines remaining fixed, wants to expand the front line to encircle the Ukrainian armed forces. One of the most important stages of this pincer is currently taking place around Kharkiv, and as it is known, a new attack group of the Russian armed forces has been established in the Kharkiv region, and the aim of this group is to recapture Kharkiv as just as it was the beginning of the war. However, this does not seem to be possible. At least the center of Kharkiv still seems to be the safe zone for Ukraine. So in recent days, the Ukrainian armed forces have once again taken action to prevent this operation, especially the work of the Ukrainian intelligence on this issue is quite admirable, because the information network established by the Ukrainian intelligence enables all kinds of detailed information about the Russian army to reach the Ukrainian armed forces quickly. So recently, according to reports, Ukrainian intelligence made a very important discovery. In this discovery, it was determined that the Russian armed forces made a dense stockpile for the Kharkiv of last attack, and there was a large amount of ammunition and military equipment in the heap. So a great preparation was made for the Kharkiv offensives to be launched by the Russian armed forces. However, the Ukrainian armed forces immediately took action. So according to the regional sources, the Ukrainian intelligence did not only use its own resources to monitor this area, and the Russian separatists from across the borders also carried out a reconnaissance and observation. For Ukrainian intelligence, the ammunition depot was really well protected, and it was therefore not logical to attempt a sabotage attack. Instead, this depot had to be destroyed directly, and the most logical option was a missile attack. So Ukrainian intelligence repeatedly scanned the area with unmanned aerial vehicles, and after analyzing and confirming the location and coordinate data, the operation button was pressed. The Ukrainian armed forces were to use ATACMS missiles to blow up this ammunition depot. ATACMS missiles were frequently used by the Ukrainian armed forces in such operations. Indeed, their success rate was quite high. According to information obtained from the regional sources, the ATACMS missiles, which took off from the missiles batteries of the Ukrainian armed forces in the early morning hours, entered Russian airspace after traveling a short distance. And the emphasis on the Russian airspace is quite important, because under normal conditions, the Russian air defense systems, which Russia trusts very much, were supposed to destroy these missiles in the air. However, the air defense systems failed again, and the ATACMS missiles fired by the Ukrainian armed forces hit the ammunition depot prepared by the Russian armed forces for Kharkiv with a great noise. So the ammunition depot exploded with a great noise after being hit by the ATACMS missiles, and the ammunition stored there also reacted with the heat energy generated by the ATACMS missiles. According to reports, the warehouse contained a large number of rifle bullets as well as the various missiles, anti-tank weapons, grenades and explosives, and the ATACMS missiles alone already had a very large area of effect. When these ammunition also reacted and exploded, the effect was even greater. So according to the information obtained from the regional sources, during the explosion, most of the Russian soldiers who were responsible for protecting the ammunition depot were destroyed. And it is also reported that some of the armored vehicles in the depot were destroyed or damaged. So regional sources report that as a result of the explosion, a fire occurred that could not be extinguished for a long time, and the Russian armed forces, which are currently attaching great importance to the Kharkiv operation, have still not made any statements about this incident in their control area. So the reason for this is known, of course. Since the Russian armed forces don't use the official language, they think that these facts will be hidden. However, in the international arena, Russia and Russian officials' statements are not taken into account. For many users, an official or local sources are more reliable. So the resources of the Ukrainian armed forces have been severely depleted in recent days, but despite this, the resistance was still standing. It seems that with the arrival of new support, the resistance of the Ukrainian armed forces have become stronger. Thanks to such operations, the Ukrainian armed forces provide a comfort zone for their defenders in the front line, and similar operations should continue. Only in this way can the situation turn into the favor of Ukraine in the expected Kharkiv offensives. To date, it is known that the Russian armed forces have captured several villages on the Kharkiv border. However, the defense of the Ukrainian armed forces here begins further back. Therefore, the Russian armed forces still seems to be quite far from winning the decisive result. Under these circumstances, such attacks launched by the Ukrainian armed forces are of great importance, and this process must be continued in a similar manner. Otherwise, the situation will develop against the Ukrainian armed forces, and the Russian armed forces have started the first stages of a major defeat with their successive mistakes. Let's see what Vladimir Putin, the president of the Russian Federation, will do to prevent this defeat. So what do you think? How do you think the attacks on the ammunition depot of the Ukrainian armed forces will affect the Kharkiv attack of the Russian armed forces? And do you think that the Ukrainian army has adequate defense capabilities? To what extent do you think the arms supplies to the Ukrainian armed forces affect the situation on the front line? And will the Russian army succeed in the Kharkiv offensive? Let me know in the comments, because I read and I care about all of your comments.